Hey everyone, Godzilla x Kong is the newest addition to the MonsterVerse series produced by Legendary and Warner Brothers Pictures, which features Toho's franchise of monsters. Godzilla and Kong have absolutely been making a comeback lately, especially with Godzilla Minus One's recent Academy Award win. However, the MonsterVerse series produced by Legendary is with a different company, but it has been doing a solid job with the franchise. So how did they do with the latest edition in this universe? While you're here, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you like it, because that's the best way to impact the YouTube algorithm, and I would be so grateful. Thank you, guys.
We've discovered a signal. She can feel it. Kong, Godzilla, they can feel it too. Something is coming. Something even they're afraid of.
All right, so Godzilla x Kong brings us back into a universe filled with monsters who populate the Earth, with Godzilla being the protector of the natural world and Kong being the protector of the human world. The Monarch Station down in Hollow Earth, which is set up to monitor Kong in his new environment, keeps getting knocked offline by this unique signal that is being sent out from the unexplored area of Hollow Earth beyond the station's reach. Now, this signal sends Godzilla into action while also triggering a psychic ability in Gia that just might help Director Andrews and her team find its source, while also revealing an all-new danger that Kong can't stop on his own. Now, before I go any further, I have to say, I literally don't get the title of this film. How do I even say the name? Is it Godzilla x Kong? That's what I've been saying. Or is it Godzilla X Kong? Or is it Godzilla versus Kong? I feel like I am missing something here. If you know, please tell me in the comments, because it's bugging me badly that I can't figure it out. And I don't know why that X is in the title. In any case, there is so much to say about this film, but at its core, this is a monster movie. In other words, it's a film that prioritizes the lives, needs, and feelings of the monsters above those of the human characters in the story. And that's totally okay. And it's a great contrast to what we saw in Godzilla Minus One. We see the Titans and the apes living according to their rules and doing what they're supposed to do in this universe. I wouldn't go as far as to say that the people and their stories are incidental, but there are massive swaths of humanity that feel the brunt of these creatures at war, and that violence and death, it really just isn't felt in the film. If it wasn't immediately understood that this is a monster first type of film, I would have been deeply disturbed by the excessive human collateral damage. However, they really never hide the fact that the monsters are the primary characters and the stars of the show, and that humanity is still learning to live in a world that is controlled by them. And there are a few moments in which you can't help but to wonder, like, why? Why are the humans doing that? It's not only going to not work, but it's going to make them mad. There is a massive amount of human hubris in this film, which I think creates a great lens into exploring our role and responsibility within the natural world, and that human hubris and arrogance is quite possibly our biggest challenge in the MonsterVerse. It was a fun and exciting ride in the theater, but the deeper questions of loyalty, personal history, and belonging rise to the top as I reflect on the film as a whole. From the examination of the roles of the Iwi people and the regular humans within the MonsterVerse, to Kong's loneliness and desire for family, and the destructive nature of long-held grudges, even among monsters, that keep us from solving our problems and moving forward. it's easy to miss the philosophical threads that kind of bind this story together, making it so much more compelling than a simple creature feature. While the film has a lot of great moments, there are a few that don't measure up. Specifically, the tech and science are a bit too conveniently perfect for whatever issues need to be solved at the moment. But let's face it, we expected realistic technology. I don't think any of us would be watching Godzilla times Kong. It just wouldn't be. The characters were all varying degrees of well done. And Godzilla kind of reminded me of a grouchy old man who was just trying to catch a nap, but then had to keep getting up to chase the kids off of his lawn. So he went about taking care of business and getting ready for the big battle at the end of the film. And yeah, I'm purposefully avoiding spoilers here, but it really does all make sense when you see what he does and how it kind of builds toward the end. Kong, he was great. He was so emotive. His eyes and his body language communicated so much and really allowed us to see kind of inside the story in a very human way because of his connection to Gia, the Iwi girl from Skull Island. We also got some amazing scenes in which story was effectively conveyed between a group of characters without a single word being spoken. And then there was King Scar, who is wickedly good as a villain. And his every movement, look, and motion just dripped with anger and cruelty. And I really grew to love Little Kong. Of all the characters in the film, he transformed under the care and guidance of Kong. And we got to see the impact of his development when cruelty was replaced by kindness. The human actors also did a nice job with their roles, but strangely, this film, it just wasn't about them. It wasn't their film. However, I do think that Kaylee Hottle, who played Gia, the last remaining Iwi, came across as compelling and sympathetic as the living link between the monsters and the rest of humanity. This gave her character a little more heft within the plot, which was nice. The other actor that, I don't know, he just kind of made me laugh and provided one of my favorite moments in the film. And it was Alex Burns, who just managed to get himself eaten by a tree in such a way that I giggle every time I think about it. And his death really does get chalked up to human arrogance, even if it was entertaining. But it did serve as a nice warning for the other humans to just tread a little more carefully when in Hollow Earth and in the monsterverse. The CGI in the film is off the charts, and yet it wasn't a factor like it is in so many other films. So much of this film is clearly digital environments blended with specialized art to create these dynamic and visually stunning landscapes. What's fascinating about this is that you would think that all that CGI would be a nightmare on the screen, but it wasn't. You just don't get caught up in the effects. And that allows you to stay in the story, which is a nice change from the CGI monstrosities that have been coming out lately. It was a really pleasant surprise. The film, it's easy to recommend if you are looking for a monster film that just doesn't take itself too seriously and is designed to be 2 hours of fun, because it is literally jam-packed with monsters and mayhem that is just fantastic fun to watch on screen. From the creatures of Hollow Earth to the monsters living on the surface, we get a star-studded look at the pantheon of titans within the monsterverse. And I gotta say, that alone is worth the price of the ticket. So, Godzilla times Kong, what did you think? Did you see it yet? I left a lot out of this review. There was so much more to say. So be sure to let me know what you think, what you loved, and where you think the monsters might have fallen down in the story. Thanks, everybody. Remember, if you like this review, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos because there are more coming. Again, thanks a lot, and I will see you again soon. Bye.